Anger management is this next title presentation. Anger is normal, usually unhealthy human emotion. However, when anger spins out of control, it can cause problems at work, with personal relationships, and in the overall quality of life. Heightened levels of anger are often linked to stress and may cause a variety of physical and emotional health consequences. So, within this training, we're going to discuss how to recognize anger and to express anger in constructive ways by implementing assertive coping skills to deal with it. And in today's presentation, you will be able to differentiate healthy anger from harmful anger, recognize the multiple aspects of anger, distinguish common signs of anger, understand the anger management continuum, identify strategies for confronting and managing anger, and complete an assessment and activities related to managing anger. So there's an assessment that I normally give out with this presentation when I'm doing it live for people to go through and kind of rank themselves on what level or how well they deal with or don't deal with their anger management. And then we have a discussion about that. Um, Anger is an emotional state. It is expressed in different forms and occurs on a diverse continuum from frustration all the way to rage, like this guy in the top right corner. Anger is accompanied by physiological and biological changes and is caused by both internal and external events. Anger is neutral. It becomes constructive or destructive based on how we cope with our angry feelings. Anger reactions happen when there is stress, such as the threat or loss to our body or property, self esteem, values, entertainment, or anything meaningful to us. The goal of anger management is to reduce both emotional feelings and the physiological arousal caused by anger. You cannot get rid of or avoid the things or the people that enrage you, nor can you change them, but you can learn to control your own reactions to those people and things. These are a list of the multiple aspects of anger: physical aspects, cognitive, and behavioral aspects. The physical aspects include anger involves a state of heightened activation of automatic nervous system. We gear up for a fight or a flight response. Cognitive aspect, our thoughts and perceptions strongly influence our anger. The same set of circumstances may anger one person, yet not another, depending on interpretation of whatever that situation is. Behavioral aspect, after experiencing our anger, both emotionally and physically, we then decide how to express it. We may choose to escalate the level of conflict, to withdraw, or to express our feelings assertively. Helpful versus harmful anger. Helpful anger, it gets us fired up so we can overcome obstacles, assist with achievement of goals we thought were impossible, allows us to handle emergencies, facilitates communication with others. Now, harmful anger, that surfaces when we ignore our anger or express it inappropriately. This may lead to hurting ourselves and others. It promotes health problems if left uncontrolled, as well as concerns with low self esteem and depression. It causes interpersonal problems, leads to accidents, underlies crime, physical assaults, destruction of property, murder, and abuse, physical, verbal, and sexual as well. This is the continuum of anger right here. So it could be internalized anger that you just hold in that anger, and we want to manage the anger and then externalize anger. The internalization of anger is passive. We try to hide that anger, never allow for appropriate expressions of it, and it can have physical ramifications. Manage anger is assertive, acknowledge anger and address it assertively. And then aggressive anger, when it's externalized, unable to address anger constructively, and often blaming others for reasons why you are angry. These are some signs of anger. Won't go through all of them, but I'll just kind of go through a couple of them to give you an example. But for direct signs of anger, raising voice, yelling, cursing, clenching fists, threaten or push and shove others, feels violated, express hostility and resentment and rage. Indirect signs of anger is excessive sleeping, chronically being fatigued, anxiety, depression, crying, abuse of alcohol, drugs, or food, silent suffering, and compulsive behaviors can all be a sign of anger. Beliefs that fuel anger, exaggeration, minimize the possibilities and magnifying the negative, blowing the situation out of proportion. Mind reading, jumping to conclusions, assuming a negative outcome before a situation occurs, applying assumptions or preconceived ideas about someone or something, all or nothing thinking, taking a black or white perspective without any open mindedness. When a situation does not turn out perfectly, it is seen as a failure. Here's another assessment number two, recognizing anger symptoms. Confronting your anger, it's natural. It's an adaptive response to threats. Your body's reacting naturally. It's inspiring powerful aggressive feelings and behaviors which allow us to fight and to defend ourselves. A certain amount of anger is necessary for survival. In our society, it's unacceptable to physically lash out at everything that irritates us. Laws, social norms, and common sense limit how far our anger can actually take us. Confronting your anger. There are three main approaches to confronting anger. Number one is expressing your anger, suppressing your anger is number two, and calming your anger down. So, expressing your anger, angry feelings are expressed in an assertive manner by identifying how to meet needs without hurting others. Suppressing anger, suppress anger is converting into more constructive, positive behaviors. Calming anger, by calming anger, we do not just control outward behavior, but also internal responses, lowering heart rate and letting feelings subside. Are you too angry? Most people with anger issues are able to recognize that they have a problem controlling their anger. Some people are more hot headed than others and get angry more easily and intensely than the average person. They experience a low tolerance for frustration. They feel they should not have to be subjected to frustration, inconvenience, or annoyance, are unable to take things in stride, are infuriated by unjust situations such as being corrected for a minor mistake, just like that little baby throwing that bottle. Others with anger issues may not show their anger in loud, spectacular ways, but are chronically irritable and grumpy. Easily angered people do not always curse and throw things. Sometimes they withdraw socially, sulk, or get physically ill. We become this way due to many factors, including genetics, culture, and upbringing. So, strategies to manage anger, recognize and admit that you are angry. Take responsibility for yourself and your feelings and your actions. Investigate your anger. Identify the causes of your anger. Develop a plan for addressing and resolving your anger. Deal with your anger assertively. And then, last but not least, move on. Strategies to manage your anger, you want to have some form of relaxation. Take some deep breathing and imagery. Imagine yourself doing something pleasurable. Change the way you think through cognitive restructuring. Find different ways to problem solve. Improve your communication. Change your environment. Incorporate some form of sense of humor. Find alternatives to the solution or to the issue. Find a solution. Practice assertiveness. Seek help. Right? Sometimes you may need to talk to a therapist, a counselor to help you with this, or talk to a friend or family member that you can trust complete worksheets to increase your self-awareness as well. Different ways to diffuse your hostile situation. Do not react to anger with anger. Show respect to all individuals at all times. Keep private discussions private. Show empathy and fully hear and listen to what the other person is saying. Verbalize your concerns and clarify your boundaries. Remove yourself from the situation if your own safety or that of others is threatened, and seek help again. Identify some ways to cope with stress. So it's not the stressful event itself that determines an outcome, but rather how do you react to that event? You can not always control the stressful event, but you can manage your emotional and physiological reactions. Take 20 minutes daily to sit quietly, meditate, relax, or simply not deal with anything else going on. Learn to accept things you cannot change. Determine a way to see the good rather than the bad. Speaking to a doctor, a friend, a coworker, family member, mental health professional, all of those things may help. Engage in a routine physical activity, preferably something that you enjoy. Limit your alcohol intake and use of cigarettes. Refrain from emotional eating. Think and plan ahead so that you don't get upset. Problem solve as opposed to just accepting a situation as it is. Change your responses. Be positive, not negative, whenever possible. And learn how to say no. Do not promise too much. Give yourself time to accomplish your task. Again, another opportunity to have a group discussion on how you handled anger in the past. How do you manage your anger? What do you do when you get upset? Take good 10 minutes to kind of share some scenarios in terms of how did anger manifest itself in the workplace, either with you or with another colleague? And most importantly, how was it resolved? These are some do's and don'ts, some nuggets to take away. Do speak up when an issue is important to you. Take time to think about the problem and clarify your feelings. Use I statements to convey feelings. Look for common ground and opportunities for growth. Remember that everyone has a right to their own opinion and the reason to be heard. Don't label, blame, or assume or make prejudgments. Um, don't apply stereotypes. Don't cut someone off while he or she is speaking. Don't refuse to work with someone based on a statement, and don't hold a grudge. So really think long and hard about yourself, because it all starts with you. It all starts with your presence where you are at this time. If you have a bad day at home, you're gonna bring that same type of energy at work. If you have a bad day at work, you're going to bring the same energy at home. So really identifying where you are, learn and practice techniques that work for you. So breathing, exercising, walking, silence, and utilizing the resource around you. So I hope that this presentation helped you and gave you some tools in terms of how you can better manage your anger personally and professionally. Thank you.